Welcome to the Cheap Guitar Channel. Just a poor man playing poor stuff poorly. Thanks for being here, and hopefully you can make an informed decision with your friends here at Cheap Guitar Channel. Like and subscribe if you want to. And now, here's me to hopefully help you make an informed decision with the Cheap Guitar Channel. Hey y'all, welcome back into Cheap Guitar Channel. I'm Cody. Thank you so much for joining me. I was on a forum the other day, and someone said they had $2,500, so I'm assuming US, to outfit a rehearsal studio that was 5, 6, 7 bands, all different genres. They needed, PA to sing through. They wanted guitar amps, bass amps, drums, and they were just sort of gathering ideas about what the members of this forum thought that they should do with their $2,500. My first thought right away as a drummer was Yamaha Stage Custom drums. No brainer for me. Now, Pearl Exports would work, Mapex would work, but Yamaha Stage Customs are they're a workhorse. The hardware is good, they sound good, they're easy to tune. Most of the drummers I know, which is a number of them, are not going to be disappointed when they walk into a rehearsal space and see a set of Yamaha Stage Custom sitting there. I wouldn't provide cymbals, pedals, snare drum probably. If I did provide a snare drum, it would be a cheap one. But the drums right away, that's what I thought. The PA, the amps, everything else, my first thought was Peavey. Old school, made in Meridian, Mississippi, Peavey. Big, huge, heavy. Nobody's going to love it, but nobody's going to destroy it. It's a little different if you know everyone, you're very familiar with all the players that are going to be coming in and out of the rehearsal space. You're confident none of it's going to walk off. But if you're not, that old school Peavey stuff is so heavy that nobody's really going to want to steal it. But does it sound good? No, but it doesn't sound like a heaping pile of garbage either. So it will definitely get the job done. It will work. It is just about bulletproof. Around here, you always hear stories about old Peavey gear falling out of the back of a truck, tumbling down the highway. You plug it in, and it works. Well, there's a lot of reason behind that. That's not just a myth or some old wives' tale. It really has happened over and over. So my first thought was old school Peavey. And then I thought, well, let me just see what's out there. Because I know a lot of churches, civic organizations, groups like that have upgraded to powered speakers and digital boards and new gear. And a lot of these places, I know of 2 churches locally and 1 club. The churches have a room full of this stuff. The club owner had some old Peavey SP2s he was trying to get $100 for. I think he'd probably give them away at this point. But the churches and the civic groups understand what they paid for this stuff years ago. So they know it has some value. But nobody wants it. And chances are, if you were real nice to them, they might even give you some of it, or if not all of it. But they don't know what to do with it. And so it's just sitting there taking up room. So I pulled up on Craigslist just a general Peavey PA search just to see what's out there. And for $2,500, not only can you easily outfit a rehearsal space with guitar amps, bass amps, PA, you could probably get enough to go outfit the rehearsal space and go do a gig with it if you have a bunch of really good, strong backs in your group. And this is what I found just doing a quick search on Craigslist. So I thought I would start with just some of the cheapest old school Peavey speakers. And here is a set of 112s, old school. These things don't weigh a ton, but they're not real light. $100 for the pair. That's pretty good. If you just want to do vocals through a powered head. Here's another set of 115s. These are the TLSs. They have these little bitty handles on them right here because they're not real heavy, but someone went ahead and put wheels on them. $120 for these. Again, throw them up with a powered head and you're in business, especially for vocals. Although I'm going to be honest, I've done a show with speakers just like this with some 15-inch subs underneath them. Again, didn't sound great, but we did the show with them and no one complained. These are the original old schools that I was talking about. Nobody wants to move these. Nobody in their right mind wants to move these because these are back-breakingly heavy. Now, if you have a few really strong backs in your studio, or if you want to go do a gig, these will definitely get the house rocking. Do they sound great? No, but they will do the job. But will anybody ever want to steal them out of your rehearsal room? Absolutely not. And you can mic drums through them. They'll handle bass for $300 for the pair. Black Widow equipped. This one was interesting because for $350, it's basically a 9-channel Behringer head. It's got 9 preamps on it, which is enough to do a couple of vocalists, a couple of guitarists, a keyboardist, a bass player, and you could still mic the kick, the snare, and an overhead. So you could do a whole band. And it has 2 separate power amps, so it'll power mains and monitors. But it also comes with these Peavey speakers. I'm pretty sure these are the 15s and horns as SP5s. They might be 12s and horns, but either way, they have the speaker stands along with them. So to do a rehearsal room for $350 for basically 9 preamps, main speakers, and you could add monitors to it very easily, $350 is going to be really hard to beat. Here is a Peavey head, and this is one of the original old school Peavey heads. Throw it out of the back of the truck that I've been talking about, an XR600. This particular system comes with Sun speakers, these 1215 speakers, which aren't bad speakers for what they are. Again, for this $360 is what they're asking for the system, but for a small coffee house gig or a rehearsal studio, they would be good. Again, more huge, gigantic, old school Peavey speakers, $375 for these. And again, nobody is going to want to steal these, especially if you're up any kind of flights of stairs. And these aren't the heaviest that they made, but for $375, if you need speakers for your studio, that's not a bad place to start. This is not quite as old school as the last one, but again, a 6-channel powered Peavey head. It's got some speakers with it. These look like 15s and horns, the TLS series, for $450. Again, not bad. $500. This is JBL speakers. I think these are the 12s and horns. They're the JRX 100 series. Not a terrible speaker, not a great speaker, but will definitely get the job done. It also comes with this 16-channel powered Peavey board. This will definitely get the job done. You can split the mains and the monitors out of it, run them both, and use these as your mains, buy a set of monitors, $500 in. You're good to go for your rehearsal space. Here's some more. $600 again. Back-breakingly heavy, old school Peavey speakers. These things just look heavy. Man, I've moved so many of these things over my lifetime. If I never have to move another one, I will be happy. $600 though for an Audio Centron power amp. Or no, it's a Carver. Carver power amp. $600 for a Carver power amp, a couple of Peavey speakers, and a horn. I guess if you really like highs, that would be your system. Now we're getting into some full systems. I was talking earlier about there are civic organizations and churches and schools and the like that have this old school stuff. They just don't know what to do with it. It wouldn't surprise me if this is one of those situations. This might even be the side of a pew or something over here. But this is 4 Cerwin-Vega speakers, an extremely old school Peavey boards. They are basically the exact same board. One is for parts, one is working. For $600, Yeah, this would get the job done. This is one of my favorite combinations that I found. It's Peavey single 18-inch subs and JBL dual 15 and horn tops. Not only would this be good for a rehearsal room, you could easily gig with this. You could probably play comfortably for 100 people outside with this for $800. And again, Craigslist does not have the best deals going. So you can definitely find better deals out there. But again, almost all of these deals are probably negotiable. This is exactly what I was talking about. Church musical equipment. $1,000. Hang on, let me get a drink of water. I swear I drink like a caveman. So this is what I was talking about. Church musical equipment, $1,000. This has just about everything you're going to need. Definitely for a rehearsal space. If you wanted to go out and play some shows live, this would do it. This system, let me pull it down so I can show you what I mean about they're just giving this stuff away. And all this, I am quite sure, is negotiable. They are not hard and fast on this. This may have been in the youth group, in the youth sanctuary, something like that, and they've upgraded to powered stuff, digital mixers, and so they're getting rid of all this stuff. They know it's worth something because they know what they paid for it. Most of the time I've run into situations like this, they're willing to take whatever just to get it out of the way. So for $1,000, what they're asking for this, it's a Peavey M2600 power amp. Let me see if I can find it on here. This amp right here is basically what most people would use as the monitor amp. It would easily power either set of these speakers. This is it's not quite completely old school CS800, but it's still pretty old. And these are bulletproof. This is sort of what I would consider old school Peavey, this M2600. These things, this amp right here probably weighs 794 kilograms. However much that, I don't know what the conversion is. Heavy. They call them boat anchors for a reason. This CS800, it's got to be 80 pounds. Anyway, I don't know what the conversion to kilograms is with that for my European friends, but it's heavy. But this, for $1,000, it's got a 24-channel audio Syntron mixing board. Again, not the best mixing board in the world, but 24 channels. The SLM speakers, that's St. Louis Music. It's basically Crate. Then the Yamaha speakers, they're the S15Es, not the high-end Yamahas, but again, they will do it. It has a 12x4 snake. They don't know if it's 100 or 150 feet, but does it matter? Then there's 2 guitar/bass stands, 4 music stands, and 2 microphone stands. It says everything's tested in working condition, goes to a church. They'd like to sell it all together if possible, asking $1,000 or best offer. This would definitely do any rehearsal studio, and if you wanted to go, play live shows, you could definitely do it with this. With a big band, with a 24-channel board, you have more than enough channels there to, do what you need to do. So I looked up some amps, and these are the old school Peavey amps I was talking about. Here's a Peavey Studio Chorus. It's a 210 amp. If you're not playing in front of a huge crowd, or if you got that last PA and you mic'd everything, for a rehearsal studio, this thing would be fantastic for $175. Does it sound terrific on its own? No, but it's a good pedal platform, and you're not going to kill it. Here's a Peavey Renowned 400 guitar amp. Again, I've skipped all the tube amps, because if this is in a rehearsal studio and you've got a ton of people coming in and out using it from all different genres and styles, you're going from Larry Mitchell to James Hetfield, they'll probably have pedal boards with them. And if they don't, they will quickly get them. But these make great pedal platforms. Less than $200. You could probably get it for $150. Here's another one. This is one of those throw it out of the back of the truck and it still works amps. This is an early 80s Peavey Bandit. These really don't sound terrible. If you're doing country, along with the Renown, this is known as a steel guitar amp, by the way. And most steel players use these for a long time, but they do fine with electric guitars. And if you're playing clean with a pedal board in front of it, they're fine. Same with the Peavey Bandit. The dirty channel on this really isn't terrible, especially if you like Leonard Skinner-esque tones. These old Peaveys get those tones really well. Moving over to the bass amps, here's a TNT 100. Talk about old school. It looks like it has a Serwin Vega driver in it, but the Peavey speakers aren't hard to find. And again, just bulletproof. Just absolutely bulletproof. When they plug into it, they're going to know they've plugged into an amp. Does this one in particular sound great? Probably not with the Serwin Vega speaker in it, but you put a good speaker in it, it does fine. You could upgrade from there to this TNT. It's on wheels, which means, yeah, it'll walk out if you don't trust all the bass players and musicians coming into your rehearsal studio. But if you want to use it to gig with the wheels on it, this might be your guy. If you really want to get froggy and don't want it stolen, this head weighs about 600 pounds and this cabinet weighs about a half a ton. So, but it's going to rock the house. This amp is you're probably not going to get one Marshall half stack over this amp. Couple of Marshall stacks, yeah, if you're just wanting to deafen everybody. But this amp, it will hold its own. And it is old school for $400. So if you went totally high end and bought the $400 and didn't negotiate, bought the $400 bass amp, the two $200 guitar amps, that brings you to $800, and then bought the $1,000 complete PA system, you're at $1,800 of a $2,500 budget, and your rehearsal studio is definitely set. You've got, $700 or so left for a drum set. You can easily find any Pearl Export or Mapex, or, like I say, even Yamaha Stage Customs for $300 to $500 pretty easily. And now your rehearsal room is set, except for personal items and microphones and that kind of thing. If you went on the cheap end and just got powered heads and speakers on sticks, you could get 3 of them and do whatever you need to do, have plenty of channels and plenty of speakers, and still have enough left over to buy, $150 guitar amps and $150 bass amps, and have plenty of money left for microphones and cables and even lights if you wanted them, I guess. My point is, with the old school Peavey stuff, it's bulletproof, it's heavy. You don't really want to be transporting it around, although it's fine for that. You just need a lot of really good, strong backs to do it. So if you have the manpower and the strong backs and the will to make it happen, it's really hard to go wrong with the Peavey stuff. Years ago, I had some friends that were in a genuine punk rock band, from the 70s kind of punk rock band, and they were still going into the millennium. And the first time I saw them play, which was in the mid to late 90s, it was in a club. There was probably 50 or 60 people there, and it was a rowdy club. And their PA system was a 6-channel powered head, and I think 12s and horns sitting on the top of a pair of 15s and horns that were powered by an 8-channel head. The 8-channel head and the 15s and horns had the bass drum, I think the snare drum, the bass, and they had one guitar player coming through them. The 6-channel powered head had 12s and horns sitting on top of the 15s, and then another set of 12s and horns monitors daisy-chained off of them for the singer. It worked. It actually sounded pretty good. You could hear everything. Now, the 15s and horns, and this was a loud club, and this was a loud band. They were a real punk rock band. The 15s and horns, they didn't do a lot for beefing it up, so to speak. They just spread it out. So the guitar player who's on the other side of the stage, you could still hear him okay on this side. And the bass, although he was tremendously loud, when you were on that side of the club, you were hearing the clank coming off of his strings through that 15-inch horn on the bottom, on the other side. It was a great setup. It was the first time I'd ever seen a band do that, and it worked. And I can't tell you how many bands and groups since then about the idea of doing that. I know there's a lot of people, and especially audio engineers, going, "You're crazy. What you need to do is," yeah, there's a million ways to do it. I get it. But you use what you have that works, and that was working for them very well. Matter of fact, they were touring around the country with that rig. So it can be done. You don't have to have the newest, latest, greatest, best stuff in the world to make it happen. I am genuinely curious, too, for all my brothers and sisters that are watching from Europe and North and South America, Central America, over in Asia. What was your sort of go-to Peavey PA systems that you had there, and maybe that you still have there? Leave a comment below, please, because I am genuinely curious as to what sort of your part of the world equivalent are or is to Peavey gear here. If you're in this particular situation like this fellow, you're sharing a rehearsal space with several bands across several different genres, it definitely presents a lot of unique challenges that you'll have to overcome. But I wouldn't provide cables. I wouldn't provide small items that could walk away. For drummers, it's generally well known that you bring your own cymbals, your own snare, your own pedal, usually your own stool. But you can find an old stool or chair to throw in there in case someone just shows up without one. But I find it's very rare that happens with drummers. I know this video is a little different and a little long-winded, but check with your music stores. Most music stores don't take old school gear on trade because nobody wants it. They can't get rid of it. Same with the churches and the civic groups and the schools and those sort of things. So check with them. You might be surprised at how much they actually have in storage. They just want to get rid of it at this point. They're tired of hanging on to it. They're tired of it taking up room. They know it's worth something. They just really have no idea what it's worth. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? Just be nice. Just go in, be kind to them, and say, "Look, we're struggling. We don't have a lot of money. We'd like to make a donation to the church." Something like that, and it may work. You may be surprised. As always, like and subscribe if you want to. If not, that's okay too. Thank you for being here in our little corner of the universe. I really appreciate you guys. Until the next time, for the Cheap Guitar Channel, I'm Cody. Make good decisions. See ya. Be cool. Bye. Thanks again for hanging out with us on the Cheap Guitar Channel. Like and subscribe if you want. And be sure to join us next time for a poor man playing poor stuff poorly. For all of me here at Cheap Guitar Channel, have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time.